I think if my dad were alive today, the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything Donald Trump represents. I'm outraged and disgusted by my brother's gaudy and obscene embrace of Donald Trump. And I completely disavow and separate and dissociate myself from Robert Kennedy Jr. in this flagrant and inexplicable effort to desecrate and trample and set fire to my father's memory.
So what Donald Trump represents, many say, was lower inflation, no wars. This is an interesting comment, as you just mentioned, where we are in our country. And that ends up getting replayed over and over, where people who have to make a decision thoughtfully, even if they were former Democrats, how does that impact, you think, undecided voters when you have sort of this echo chamber in liberal media?
Well, I'll tell you, Bianca, we know this is going to be a tight election. There's no question that RFK Jr.'s decision to drop out of the race and endorse Donald Trump is certainly going to accrue to Donald Trump in some way, shape, or form. The question is how much? And at the end of the day, is it enough to close the gap that seems to be now moving in Harris's direction? We will find out. I do want to respond to Kerry Kennedy's comments, too, that talking about her father's legacy. And, two things can be true at once. I think she's right. I think her father and uncle would be probably terribly disappointed. But as someone who has spent time with Donald Trump in the White House when he was president, I'm a Democrat who can say with authority that I've seen on full display both the elements of character that drive so many of us in this country crazy about him, and also the kind and hospitable and engaging side of Donald Trump that endears him to so many. I wish we could get away from the toxicity of politics, and yet I'll speak for a lot of Democrats right now, Bianca, when I say many of us can find conservative principles something to respect, to appreciate, and even to incorporate into American policy. I think what's really troubling to most Democrats, myself included, is not conservatism in the Republican Party. It is Donald Trump specifically, and it's a character issue. It's a way of treating people and empathy. And I just want to clarify that because that's what gets so many people on my side of the aisle so upset about him. It's not all policy. Many, I think some people can agree with, actually. It's character. And I think that's what we should all be assessing perhaps more than anything else in this day and age.
We saw a lot of empathy today at Arlington National, as you know, and then statements from the others. So that is one thing to draw on. I just want to pick up on one thing you said, though. It's, you talk about the cabinet and having it be with people that could lead this country forward. I mean, Elon Musk potentially could be included in some of that. We've seen Silicon Valley come really to Donald Trump, whether it be David Sachs or other big donors, saying, if we're looking for, an economy that works, an America first type of forward looking. Do you think that folks like Elon Musk would deserve a seat at the table as well if we're looking at sort of this bipartisan saying that shouldn't really be out of the running?
Well, I'll tell you, Bianca, in my experience, this is just my perspective. I think we need business leaders in government. I think understanding how organizations operate, how to run them effectively, efficiently, deliver good value. We need people who are successful business operators. Elon Musk is a fascinating individual. I'm not sure that he is well suited to a cabinet position, which is a full-time job, should be 100% dedicated. But there are people like Jamie Dimon, for example. There are so many Americans, regardless of their politics, that we could really use at the cabinet table to start running this government effectively. And by the way, most Democrats, we want to see a pro-growth economy. We want to see businesses thrive, entrepreneurs have access to capital and be able to compete against the big companies, and want to see Americans who are struggling to make ends meet, 60% living paycheck to paycheck, do better. So all I'm trying to say here is that I think if Democrats will sit down with Republicans, Republicans with Democrats, we do it all the time quietly in the Congress, I should say. Right. If we could just do more of that, we will be a remarkable country, and that is the way to make America exceptional again. And that's my message. I hope those on both sides of the aisle both would consider those invitations. And frankly, I hope both potential presidents will consider inviting those of different perspectives to join them in leading this great country.